Rolling. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome again to CAWASA Wednesday webinar. And if it's Wednesday, you know, we're talking water. And we are very pleased this evening that we have a special guest from the WEF, the World Environmental Forum, who are all part of the water family. And our guest has been working on different aspects of water. Just a second. Yes, sorry, our guest has been working on different aspects of wastewater facility planning, design, construction, startup, operation, maintenance, and asset management for over 30 years. In 2007, she started her own company, Passaro Engineering LLC, where she could focus on partnering with utilities to support operations and maintenance activities. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil and Environmental Engineering from Caxton University and a master's degree in environmental engineering from Johns Hopkins University. She has served as an author and reviewer on many technical manuals, most recently serving as a contributing author on WEF's Wastewater Treatment Fundamentals Operator Training Manual Series. She enjoys supporting the Chesapeake WEA and WEF Annual Operations Challenge competitions. She has received the Golden Manhole and 5S Shovel Awards. She's currently serving as the chair of the WEF's Plant Operations and Maintenance Committee. I now hand you over to our special guest this evening, Ms. Stacy Passaro, professional engineer. Over to you, Stacy.
Thank you very much, Ignatius. Thank you, everyone, for joining this evening. I am thrilled to get to share some resources with you. I pulled together a bunch of stuff that's going on all over WEF, and I'm just going to offer you what I know, and I'd be happy to field any questions that you have. If I don't know the answer, I will follow up and get you more information. But I'm just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff out there to see what you're interested in, and then if so just let me know. At the end, I have my contact information, so please feel free to reach out to me. I would like to thank Valerie for reaching out to WEF to work more closely with WEF. She actually participated. I invited her to our plant ops and maintenance committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and she joined us, and she's going to be speaking at our upcoming meeting in March, and she invited me to speak with you guys tonight. So thank you. I hope I have some stuff that will be of interest. Ignatius, thank you for reading my bio. Just in general, I wanted to give you a little more, I do consulting work. I have been very fortunate to be on my own since 2007, and I kind of get to pick and choose projects that I feel, fulfilled getting to do. So I am very fortunate for that. I do a lot of training. I work with operators to help them get ready for exams, certification exams. I work with them on general specific training for their treatment plants, for their collection systems, for their different facilities. And just in general, I am a wastewater nerd. I love wastewater. I've worked in it for 30 years. forever. And the part that I love about it is that there's always something new to learn. And every time I work with a different group of operators, I work with a different utility, I always am amazed at how much we can learn from each other. So I am very much looking forward to getting to know some of you, and not only offering what I can offer, but also hearing, your lessons learned and getting to learn from you as well. I have been working with the Federation forever, for a long time. Some of the people, other volunteers that I've gotten to work with are, my best friends, wonderful, wonderful people. And it's been a very rewarding experience. I'm currently the chair of the WEF Plant Ops and Maintenance Committee, and that is kind of the capacity that I met Valerie in, and kind of the hat that I'm wearing today, coming to you to share with you what the committee's been working on. And to invite you to join us in whatever aspect of it you're interested in. So I don't know how familiar you all are with the Water Environment Federation. I thought I would just mention a couple things, just in case anybody is not that familiar. WEF has about 30,000 members, mostly in North America, US, primarily Canada, working hard to try to expand their reach, reaching out to more international members. We're all part of one water family, and we really do all have lots and lots of lessons to teach each other. So WEF is a great kind of networking platform to connect us all. They've been around since 1928. And it's really to form that network, to share technical information, but also to share all of the other aspects of our work lives, and figure out how we can all do a better job to protect water everywhere. So the Plant Ops Committee, we have about 80 members right now. We have a very good mix of operators, utility managers, consultants, and equipment manufacturers. We work hard, but we play hard too. This picture was a couple of committee members right after our committee meeting down in Texas, I guess in very early 2020. But we are really kind of the home for operations and maintenance type of discussion issues, technical information in the Federation. The Federation has a lot of other groups that are really maybe more focused on design, or maybe more focused on research. We are really the home of all the operators and the maintenance folks, and we try to make sure that when there are big meetings and they're talking about, strategy or long-term plans for what the Federation will work on, we try to always make sure that we're there to be the voice of the operators, and that we're reminding WEF of the needs of our O&M staff, to try to make sure that we keep that in the forefront of everybody's minds. We can design all sorts of systems, and they can make them as fancy as they want, but if they don't have the operators bought in, and the operators working with the designers and the managers and the planners, then the project doesn't work as well. So we really want to make sure that the O&M staff has a spot at the table and a voice in the Federation, and get a cut of the resources, get a fair share of the resources from WEF. So from there, I'm gonna go through kind of a list of things that I thought you might be interested in. Like I said, just throwing a bunch of stuff out there. Any of these we can follow up on later, but the WEF Skills Builder is something that we started 25 years ago. where we thought it would be good to have a place where operators could go and generate practice quizzes, multiple choice exam questions that are modeled very much after the format that you would see on your certification exams, so that you have somewhere to go to practice. This is part of the WEF website. There's a link here. I'm going to send this out afterward. I'll give this to Valerie and to Ignatius, and they can share if you guys need the links. But if you go to WEF's website and then type in Skills Builder, it'll pop up. It's free to everybody. And you do have to put in your name and I think an email, and then it will generate a 10-question quiz. And this is an example on the screen here of the types of questions. You can pick the level of difficulty, so you can pick fundamental, intermediate, or advanced, depending on what level exam you're studying for, or what level, how many years of experience you have. But these questions will pop up, and there's hundreds, there's actually thousands in this database that we've collected over the years. And what we're doing, our committee right now is going through 2,600 questions and updating them and improving them, rewording some stuff and giving new references to all of them. So you can see after each question here, we've linked it to a current reference, so that if an operator's studying for an exam and you take the question and you're not sure why that's the right answer, there's a link to the chapter in a book, and we try to stick to a couple of primary operations focused references. But it kind of helps you study then to get some additional information. So that is one feature. As I mentioned, we have an ongoing committee project right now where we have a group of committee members get together online every Monday for an hour. And there's a group of 8 or 10 operators who join every week, and they review these questions and update them. And then we post new questions all the time. So we're constantly expanding that database to give operators a larger group of questions to practice from. So WEF has a bunch of different membership levels, and I wanted to mention this because some of the resources that I mentioned, there are aspects of it that are free to everybody. There's aspects that are free to members. So I did want to mention, when I say membership for operators, what that really entails. There is a category called the professional operator membership through WEF, and it is $75 per year, which is not cheap, but it does include some resources that you can then access through WEF. So every month as a member, we get magazines that are, the different articles that are written focusing on wastewater facilities. And we also have webcasts, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those in a minute. But the webcasts are free to members. They are also, you can purchase those as a non-member, but they're $40 a piece. So they have usually 20 to 24 a year. So those are, 20 to 24 events that are included with your membership. They also offer some discounts on books and conferences. Our committees are mostly populated, they're populated by members. I also have a small group of what I call friends of the Plant Ops and Maintenance Committee. So they're not members, but I keep them plugged into the committee with the benefit of getting a broader participation on our group, but also to let them kind of check out the committee and see what we're doing. And maybe down the road, they would have an opportunity to join fully, so they can participate as a friend of the committee And then there's also some scholarships and awards, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those as well, that are open to members. And then WEF has a new piece, it's called Access Water, and they're putting all of their technical content into this huge, huge database. And some of the content there is free to members. And then there are some more detailed, newer references and resources and books, online books and that kind of thing that do have a charge for everybody. So if you guys are interested, I did put a link in here for membership just to get some more information if that's something you want to check into. So WENT is kind of the flagship magazine that the Federation puts out, and it goes out to all of WEF's members. So it reaches 30,000 people. There is a printed version and an electronic version. But the two pieces I wanted to mention specifically to you guys is that our committee, the Plan Ops Committee, we write an article every month that's operator essentials. And then we write another piece on maintenance. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about those. Operator Essentials is a monthly article that we've been doing for well over a decade now. And we have different members write them, and then we have a small group that reviews them, and then it's included every month. We have saved a library of those. So I have quite a long list of different topics that we've published in the past. And I have those in kind of an archive, a committee archive. So if you're interested in them, I can get that list to Valerie and Ignatius, and they could distribute it to you guys. If there's any of these topics that you would like, I can send you the file because they're not that big, so it's easy to email. But there's all different topics. These, like this one is from 2011. It was just on temperature. So it's just kind of they're usually 1 to 3 pages long. They're very concise. There's not like a whole bunch of reading, but they're very focused on, exactly what, as an operator on the field, what would be important points for you to be aware of. This one's on electric motors and troubleshooting. Here's a couple of topics that we just recently published in the last couple of magazines. One of them was on math terms. There was some laboratory information, one on collection systems, inspection and maintenance, cleaning, and there's a whole list more. So if you're interested in the list, I can shoot you that, and then I can send you the articles that go along with those. Eventually, WEF is working to get these all online to have them available for everybody, but they're not yet. And in the interim, I would be happy to share the committee archive with you guys. So there's a brand new maintenance essentials article that we're just starting. We actually have drafted the first one, and it won't even be published until April. This is the early print of it. It's going to be a very simple 1-page summary of different types of equipment that we use, at our facilities in lots of different ways. And it really just focuses on how that piece of equipment works and what's important to keep an eye on when you're out in the field and you're operating these. What are different maintenance aspects that you should keep in mind, things that are going to help prolong the life of the equipment, little things that we can do to make sure it all runs better, longer. So those will start in April, and we will have a different topic each month. Again, we have a small group on our committee who is, recruiting authors, and reviewing these drafts and giving feedback on the drafts. So that's another ongoing committee activity to kind of help steer this. But I can also get you copies of these once we start to build up kind of an archive there. Another free resource that's available through WEF right now are these operator fact sheets. This is the list of fact sheets that they have available right now on the website that are for free download. And you can see this is just the first page of one. These are actually based on our wastewater treatment fundamentals manuals. And they take different chapters. All these topics are a different standalone chapter in the book. And the chapter might be 80, 90, 100 pages long. And they kind of took that and really boiled it down into a very concise fact sheet. And each one of these are 3 to 5 pages. They're great if you're studying for a certification exam and you want to kind of refresh your memory and review something that's very, information dense. So these are all on the website right now. This is the path for you to go to find these, to download. I could also download those and send them to you if that's easier, but you should be able to get to them right here in the fact sheets. And those are free for anybody to download right now. I had mentioned the operator scholarships earlier. WEF started a new program, I think 2 years ago, where they set aside a pot of money and they fund training, to fund certification support, just different educational aspects. And I think you have to write a paragraph and submit it with your breakdown of what costs, what expenses you are asking WEF to consider covering. And they review them. They have a group within WEF that reviews all the applications and then awards money. And I know they just got a little more money approved for it for this year. They had a good group came last year. They'll award up to $5,000 per person who they accept their proposal. And I'm not sure the total amount, but they have $40,000 or $50,000 in a pot of money that they give out for this. So these are open right now. The scholarship applications are open. I think it's until April 1, but this is the link that goes to that gives you exactly the information that they want included. Right now, you do have to be a WEF member to apply for that scholarship. So that is the $75 fee that I talked about earlier. But they did say they would consider reimbursement of the WEF membership as a part of your scholarship request. So I don't know, but anyway, that is an opportunity. And if they do cover some related travel expenses as well. So I would imagine that that would be of interest to you guys. If you were trying to get to a big conference like WEF Tech, I'm sure that would be helpful to have that kind of a resource. We had an award program, Operator Ingenuity Awards, and we're kind of changing this to be Operator Ingenuity articles that are going to be run in the WENT magazine. And what we do is we try to identify good ideas. Operators are known for being creative and finding ways to fix things or make things work that don't really work so well. And what we want to do is kind of recognize that kind of creativity and to share those good ideas with other operators all over. So what we're doing now is trying to identify people who have had these creative moments and highlight those. And this picture is actually one that I'm working on an article for right now. There was a small village in New York State, upstate, way away from the city. And they wanted to do some pipe inspection work. And they had looked at equipment to do the CCTV camera work. And the package of purchasing the truck and the camera together is crazy expensive. And there was no way that they ever could have come up with that kind of money to purchase that package complete. So they were talking to somebody else in the village and they said, you know, we have this old ambulance that we're going to get rid of. And they were looking for, you know, to sell it for a couple $1,000s. It was just an older ambulance that they weren't going to use anymore, but it's in great shape. So it ended up that the wastewater operators purchased the ambulance and then installed their own camera in the back. And the nice thing about the trucks is they're already set up with benches in the back, and there was a place to put a computer to do the camera video recording. And they already have lights on them. So if you're working out in traffic, you already have your warning lights on the ambulance. So it ended up being much cheaper for them to purchase it and do it this way. And it works really well. So that's a really big example of some of the operator ingenuity type of ideas. But there's also some wonderful smaller ideas like a tool or something that just makes everyday life easier to collect samples or to do other work. So we're really looking for a range of ideas there that we can share with everybody else. So if you guys have any good ideas that you've implemented, or you know of other facilities, other wastewater utilities that have done stuff like that, let me know, because I would love to work with you and highlight that. This was another operator ingenuity article that we're probably looking at. This is a very large plant near here in Virginia. I guess I didn't mention, and I apologize, I'm located in Maryland. So we are right in the middle of the East Coast. And this utility is just south of here, about 100 miles. And they had very large pumps here that were installed outdoors, and they should have worked fine, but they weren't. They were tripping out. And so they decided to do some experimentation on how to protect them better and to get rid of the tripping issues that they were having. So you see, this is an old porta potty. They found stuff around the plant that they had. This was an old porta potty that they just emptied out and gutted, and they set it right over the pump. This was some old insulation that they had, and they did some of their own fixes and did some research to find what would help their pumps run better. So just some, again, just some creative ideas that fixed a problem. So the committee, the Plan Ops Committee, every year we sponsor 2 to 3 O&M webinars, and we will pick a topic and we find some speakers and we have them do the webinar for, you know, anybody, any of WEF members. It's free for a WEF member to join, and then it's $40 for non-members to join the webinar, and they're an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Like I said, there's 20 to 24 a year. They're on all sorts of different topics. Ours are the only ones that are really focused on operations and maintenance. We just did one last week where we focused on adding food waste to anaerobic digesters. So these are plants that are using anaerobic digestion for their sludge. And then they found if they added food waste to their digesters, they were producing a lot more energy, a lot more methane. So these were the actual people that are operating and maintaining the systems came and talked to us about some of the challenges that they ran into, accepting food waste from nearby farms or nearby resorts or nearby food preparation facilities and adding that to the digesters. So it was a interesting talk. That's another topic that if you guys were interested, we had 4 speakers at the webinar. That would be, I could get any one of those 4 groups to come and talk to you guys for one of the future, one of your webinars like this. So just an idea of another topic that we could pursue for future talks. And this is the link to the webinars, the webcasts, and it always tells you for the next month or 2 what topics are coming up, and you can sign up online, and then you also, I think they send you a summary of how long you were on. So if you are looking for continuing ed credits, then you can get a printout from WEF that could count as documentation for that. Oops. So Access Water, I mentioned, is a new effort that WEF is putting together. Since the beginning, actually, since 1928, they have been doing conferences on all different topics. They have books that have been published, papers, abstracts, magazine articles, webcast recordings, all the stuff. And they always had it kind of saved in different areas all over WEF. They've now found a way to kind of put that all together into one place. And right now they have over 20,000 different papers and articles and webcasts and all this stuff in there. And they continue to add more information to that all the time. And so you can now go to this interface here on their website, and you can type in whatever topic you're looking for. So, if you had a project, I know in the last call I was on with you guys, there was some discussion about some treatment wetlands that you had a project. I guess maybe the Caymans were looking at installing some of these wetlands. So you could go to Access Water and you could type in, wetlands, treatment wetlands, and a whole list of resources would come up. And you can kind of scroll through the list and see what would be of interest to you. And some of that is free for members, and some of it is kind of a pay-as-you-go. So if you wanted to purchase maybe a chapter of a book or papers from conferences, you can pay $10 or whatever the fee is, and then download it and have instant access to it. So this is a brand new feature, and I haven't really played with it much yet, but there is an overwhelming amount of information there. And I think it'll be a wonderful resource for the future. So. And then, as I mentioned, there's lots of books that WEF publishes. And I highlighted here just a couple that I thought would be of the most interest for operations and maintenance topics. These are 2 series of books that the Plan Ops and Maintenance Committee sponsors. We have our members write them, review them, update them, that kind of thing. So we're very involved in them. Our 2 newest ones are these wastewater treatment fundamentals books. So far we have Manual 1, which is the blue, is for liquid treatment. So it's everything, from the time wastewater comes into the plant to the time it goes out as treated effluent. And that book is really focused on helping an operator get their arms around everything that would be covered on a certification exam. And we tried to gear that towards fundamental, intermediate, and more advanced. So the first 3 levels of a certification. So it's all in one place. It's all brand new. That was published, I think, 2 years ago. So it's all of the latest information there. After that, we published book 2, which covers all of your sludge handling and covers other support systems like electric motors and aeration equipment and laboratory equipment. That kind of thing is all kind of covered in manual 2. And then just last week, we turned in one of the last chapters for book 3, which covers some more advanced topics. We just wrote the chapter on instrumentation for that book. But so anyway, that's ongoing. They're getting ready to kick off a new collection systems book. So these are all resources that are very geared towards, certification, exam prep, and general wastewater topics. I wanted to give you an idea of the costs here. They are not cheap, but there are some ways to get the cost down. So for the non-member pricing for one of these books, for each of these books, it's $139. And then if you have a WEF membership, it's $99. I've been negotiating with WEF. I have a class here in Maryland of operators that are studying for their certification exam, and they are entry-level operators who are trying to pass the introductory level, the level 1 exam. And so we just set up a new code here where they can get the book for $84, which is still not cheap, but it's much cheaper than the full non-member price because they're all non-members right now. So if you guys are interested, I asked WEF if I could share that code with you if any of you were interested in the book. And I do have the code and could get that to you for the cheaper price here if anybody's interested. So let me know. And then WEF also publishes some study guides, which are, they use the ABC exam breakdown for the topics. What's the word? The curriculum, the need to know criteria, sorry, for the ABC exams, and gives practice questions for each section. And we are actually getting ready to update those right now. The last time we updated those might have been 7 or 8 years ago. So we are kicking off a new project in the committee to review those and update those and, include some more, current updated questions and just some variety. So there's better practice there. So that's ongoing. The old ones are still available, but the new one will be worked on over the next, 6 to 8 months on the committee. And then for the wastewater treatment fundamentals, I just wanted to give you an idea of the content for those books. So the liquid treatment, the manual 1, it's got a lot of visuals, a lot of photos, a lot of, I'm a very visual learner, and and when I see full pages of text only, I get kind of bored quickly. So for these books, we've really tried to include a lot of visual additions to it that kind of give you a better picture of the pieces and parts of a treatment plant, especially when you're studying for the certification exam. And a lot of the things that you have to study are pieces of facilities that maybe you've never ever seen in your life. So it's helpful to be able to, you know, see some pictures and some diagrams that really kind of explain how things work and how the pieces all come together. So this is a treatment schematic, and the book kind of takes the operators through each piece and part and how they work together to form a full treatment plant. There's also lots of pictures. You know, Sydney Interrupner is the primary author for book 1. And Sydney and I worked together on book 2 and 3. And you can see, you know, we are lucky enough to get to travel all around and visit plants all over. And every time we're out in the field, we always take pictures and use them in our training, but then we've been able to tap into a lot of those pictures for the books as well. And we've tried to add labels and stuff into the photos and into the diagrams just to help everybody to see a little bit more about how it functions. So anyway, that's just to give you an idea of the types of things that are included in the books. WEF does also have an online class that you can take for credits that they're working to get those approved for CEUs in all the different jurisdictions. But there's quizzes and tests. In the books, there are practice tests, practice questions for all the different sections of the book. And then the online course also has quizzes and a test, a final test, so that I think, you know, you have to get a 70 on the final exam to get the full credit for participating in the online class. Operations Challenge is something I wanted to highlight for you guys. It is operations teams that compete. We have local competitions, and then we send the winner from the local competition to WEF, to the national conference to compete. And I work here. Our conference is called the Chesapeake Water Environment Association's annual conference. And we have usually 8 to 10 teams compete. And then the best local team gets money to cover their travel to go to WEF. And usually at WEF we end up with 35 to 45 teams from all over. Lots of them are US teams. We always have a good addition of a number of Canadian teams. And they've been trying to branch that out and to get more international teams to participate. We've had a couple of European teams. They have a similar competition in Europe now. So we had the winner from our competition who went to Europe and competed, and then they sent a team from Europe over to our competition. And we had a lot of fun with them when they were here with us. So it's a awesome high energy competition. We have 5 events, and they're all timed, and you have to be technically correct, but you have to do it really fast. And if you want to get just a feel for what they're like, WEF just created some tutorials for the videos that show you exactly how the events are judged, how many points. And then there's also some just fun, good videos online that show different teams and kind of highlight different things that happen in the competition. So if you go to the YouTube channel online and you Google search for Operations Challenge, there's a whole list of videos that'll pop up, and you can kind of check that out and get a feel for what that competition's like. But it's all operators from all over. And the wonderful thing is they all get to meet each other and get to know each other a little bit. And there's been lots of times where after the competition, they go back home and they're working and they run into a challenge and they know of another team from somewhere else in, the country or the world, that they can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I know you guys had a similar challenge. Can you help us with this? And it's been a really nice networking kind of building event too over the years.
Stacy, the people from Dominica, probably Ezekiel, Shannon, etc., Marcel and Jason Mank, who went to help with the disaster after the hurricane. You will know them, Stacy. They're very much part of the Operators Challenge and have done very well over the years and have been there many, many years on behalf of the Canadian operations. Yeah. So the guys from Dominica probably know Marcel and Jason as well.
Cool. Very cool. That's nice. Yeah, we're all connected. It's great that they got to go down and work down in the Caribbean. So I just threw a whole lot of random information at you. I hope there was something in there that seemed to be of interest or might be a resource for you. So things to follow up on, if you have questions or need details on any of the resources I highlighted, I'd be happy to get you more information. I will be working with Valerie to pull together some future speakers for this webinar. And so if you guys know of any, have any ideas for topics, if you let me know, I can tap into my network and find a speaker who could come and talk to you guys about whatever you're interested in. And then I would love to welcome you guys to join in the Plan Ops Committee. If you're not a WEF member, we can have you join as a friend of the committee and participate there and get an idea of the different stuff we're working on. So thank you. And here's my contact information. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm now going to invite the participants to join in and ask questions if they do have. I'm sure they would have many questions or comments. Please. Natalia, you would like to say something? I think I'm seeing your hand up. You mentioned about the books. Are they available? Are they electronic or also or only paper?
So the books are, the books are paper copy and they also have electronic. I believe you can purchase those by chapter if you choose to, electronically. They do have it in right now. They have the books in, they've been translated into Spanish, into Mandarin, and into Vietnamese. And WEF is very interested in expanding that and offering them in additional languages as well. So if you happen to be fluent in English and another language and would be willing to do some translation, I know WEF would be very happy to partner with some people to get that material converted. So we can expand it to a larger audience that way.
I was talking to Stacy about the need for Creole for Haiti, where we were working.
Oh, Haiti.
Borders. Yeah. Because they don't speak English. A lot of the operators, I mean, they're not very literate to start with. So lots of pictures are good.
Yeah.
I had a question, Stacy. You mentioned at one point you were talking about some of the material, and you said it's free for anyone to download. Is that any member to download or free for anybody to download? just to clarify.
So there's different aspects, or which makes it confusing and hard to know where to look for things. But so like our fact sheets, I did mention, those are available right now and they are free for download for anybody. And those are the summaries, the 3 to 5 page summary of each chapter. And I think there were 6 or 7 different topics there. I can download them and send them to you guys as an attachment, or you guys could go to the website direct. But those are nice resources. They're kind of sprinkled through here, and I tried to highlight things that were, you know, free for everybody. You know, so those were most of the links that I provided were to that kind of information.
Would the membership, is it open to utilities or an association such as CAWASA, or just individual membership?
That's a great question. And I would have to check more into that. WEF has tried over the years, and I think AWWA has a very successful utility membership kind of program. And WEF has always had individual memberships, and they've expressed lots of interest in doing more of a group, you know, a utility or an organization. And they've tried some different things, and I'm not really sure exactly what the status is of that right now, but I can certainly get you connected with the right person to discuss that more, so that you could see what their latest thinking is on the groups.
Okay, thank you. Yes, colleagues, do you have any questions or comments for Stacy? But certainly there are lots of, well, again, this is an additional place to find additional resources for operators who are pursuing their certification programs.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we would be following your links. I have gone to some of them in the past to just browse and seen the WE&T magazine. I think we even got some hard copies at one point. So as much as possible, we would be following up on these and trying to see how best we can get additional material for our operators. I think we quite like the idea of the preparatory programs. I think is for the water operators. But I think privately we will follow up with you as far as that is concerned, as we liaise with Valerie.
Yes, I think that we can have a three-legged stool here with CAWASA and WEF and Operators Without Borders, because right now, Stacy, we provide free training and manuals, but your information, your updating stuff, it would be very useful perhaps for even Operators Without Borders to purchase some of these and be able to use some of the material in the training that we're providing. Yeah. It's always better to have a trainer than just read a manual.
Yeah.
It is.
So, but I think if we can work together to make what's available and take the best of what we've got from all three of us, then we'll serve our operators better.
Yeah. So Sydney Interrebner and I purchased, we worked on it, but then we purchased the final. WEF offers a trainer's kit that has all of the visuals and everything in there. And then as a trainer, I can kind of rearrange things and then give the training. So last summer, Sydney and I taught a very detailed, intensive 22-week certification exam prep class for USET, who are the United Southeastern Tribes. So we had tribal operators all over the East Coast who joined us, and we did live online classes, but then we also used the books for them to be able to read through and do more practice questions on their own to help, reinforce everything. So WEF was good, partnered with us on that and helped us get the books to everybody. And so we definitely could pursue that with you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That'd be really good.
Great.
Okay.
I will send you some lists of some archived material that we have, and then you guys can review that and decide if there's anything in there that would be useful. Then we can get you some additional files from that.
Sure. Also, I would just put a note to our operators who are on the program now with us. If they should, as you suggested, if they have any topics that they would be interested in, please. If you don't put it in the chat here now, you can always shoot us an email when I send out the circulars later.
Ezekiel, you had
I
a
think
question.
we have a question here from Ezekiel. Go ahead, Ezekiel.
Yes, good day, all.
Hi.
I was just asking if WEF is strictly wastewater based.
So yes, for generally speaking, WEF has always been wastewater focused, and AWWA has been drinking water focused. More and more, the two groups have grown together, especially through water reuse programs where we're treating water and then turning around and using that as irrigation water and drinking water in some cases. So they are getting kind of closer, and there's been lots of talk about one water, but still really WEF is focused on the wastewater aspects.
Any others? Okay, well, there being none, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you so much, Stacy and Valerie, for connecting us with Stacy.
I learned a lot too. Thank you, Stacy. Great presentation. Really learned a lot.
Very good presentation too. And we would like to, yes, and Anderson says thanks in the chat. We'd like to say thanks, and we certainly will keep in touch to offer, as you indicated, possible other topics and to explore some of your training material, particularly the training kit that may be very useful to us in collaboration with OWB, Operators Without Borders.
And Ignatius, I've got my eye on Stacy if that crew money comes through for the wastewater certification training.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure she'd love to come down to the Caribbean for a couple of weeks.
right, yeah, sure.
I would, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. So again, thanks very much. And this is our webinar number 6. And yet how time flies, we're already into number 6.
Wow.
And we will continue next week. And we like to thank all of you for joining. Stay safe and keep well.
Yes.
Ignatius John from CAWASA signing out. Have a good evening all. Bye-bye.
Bye.